I'm talking like this while the show is going on because I can't pause it. I think what I'll do is turn the visibility off on the show while I'm running my mouth. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you want more content, click subscribe. If you click that little bell and click all, then you'll get more content notifications. Hello everyone, today I'm going to start my reaction of episode 7 for House of the Dragon season 1. The name of the episode is Driftmark. And I actually already recorded this first section earlier, but for some reason it came out super slow-mo, so I'm re-recording the reaction. Fucking Damon doesn't keep his shit together, but he can hear all that stuff about their Valyrian blood and keeping it from running thin and all of that. He's already starting out on his disagreement about Rhaenyra's children. Beautiful coffin. See, is it 3 or 4 dragons? Love that hair. Wish I had enough hair to do that.
Your little cousins have lost their mother. Could use a kind word.
I have an equal claim to sympathy.
Jace.
She put Harold and Lord Lionel's heart.
Tell him. There's so much going on in these scenes at the funeral. All these different looks, the little bit of words that are said, really all these glances. All of it is just saying so much with so few words actually being spoken.
Dragons weaving dragons of thread. Han turns noon.
She's an idiot. She's your future queen.
And it's funny, he says she's an idiot. Really, she's just a seer.
We both fancy creatures.
Like if he understood the seriousness of what she's doing. She's not gone up there. She's got other stuff going on.
Unabashedly.
It is only a look of pride, Sir Criston. Larys is the new Lord of Harrenhal.
She reached out to him and grabbed his hand. Like there's that closeness already.
It's your birthright, lad.
From the Lord of Driftmark. It means everyone's dead.
Out of the mouths of babes. And he's so right, and the fact that he never gets there is because he dies. It's so sad. That freaking dress is so awesome. I love that. Like, it's so freaking ornate. And that dark velvety blue. It's so pretty. And see, even he understands this grief that his nephew is going through.
Retrieve your patron.
And I just think that was so stupid. Like, he wants to act like his son doesn't have this relationship that he does. But he draws attention to the very thing he tries to act like doesn't exist. And Laenor has a right to be like he is. That's his fucking sister, and they were really close.
The gods can be cruel. They've been especially cruel to you.
Yes.
Probably do a whole sociological project on Daemon, why he does the things he does.
Your children.
Damon. I know we've had our differences.
I wonder if Otto Hightower had not been in the royal court, how much different their relationship might have been.
Sorry for your loss.
Remember that fact that each craves it always wants for another meal.
I'm going to bed, Emma. Shall I see after Queen Alicent, Your Grace? No, Sir Harold. You have the night's watch, Sir Criston.
This guy, he just rubs me the wrong way in so many ways. This shit pisses me off. I mean, you weren't abusive enough to your fucking kid, and now you gotta take it out on the grandkids too. But we saw Rhaenyra put her 2 kids to bed. King Viserys go to bed, and asked by the knight if he should look after his wife. He said no. I think Kristen to look after her. Then frickin' Otto goes and tells Aegon to go to bed. Nobody addresses Aemon. Aemon is left to his own devices to go do what he does.
What is this brief mortal life? If not the pursuit of legacy,
Legacy may be why you live your life, Paulus.
and disinherit our son.
He will be the king consort. His son will one day sit the Iron Throne.
He would have me cast an even darker shadow over those little boys than already exists. History does not remember blood. It remembers names.
I don't know. Did you guys feel like this conversation was them drawing a line in the sand on exactly how they each felt about certain things? Or just kind of like a regular family tiff? For me, I felt like it was more like this is a family discussion. And they're discussing their disagreements, which are going to happen in a marriage. I think some of it did sound a little bit line in the sandish, but I really felt more like, look, you know, we don't really agree on these things, but we're both right in our own way. Both have a point.
Performed our duty as best we could, to no avail. I found that elsewhere.
Yeah, as we could tell.
Harren's curse is said to be...
No story. Once Rosso and the Queen would gladly exploit.
Alicent's capable of cold murder.
No, but her puppets are.
Each of us is capable of depravity.
Believe it of you.
If you're accusing me of some depravity, you'll need to be more specific. We were happy enough.
Well, that in itself is a great achievement.
Not the most romantic sex scene. Just going out for a little run on the beach, Mom. No big deal. Fuck is right. What do you think? What should he have done? Wait for whatever egg to hatch and bind with one of the young dragons, or take his luck at this one that he apparently somehow manages to have this connection with it for it to allow him to? So I don't know exactly what goes on in the mind of this child. If this is what he thinks he needs to do, so be it. It does suck because, you know, the timing of everything. He felt like people looked at him as a bit of a coward, and this definitely takes that away. You can't look at him as a coward after he does this. He's not.
Someone stole Rhaegar.
Like, what other conclusion are they going to come to? Someone was stealing the dragon.
Maybe your cousins can find you a pig to ride. It would suit you.
And this is very unfortunate. Was it inappropriate for any of them to be fighting like this? Yeah. But is it a reality? Yeah. Even in today's day and time, kids get into fights like this. So far. Not as far as it goes.
My father's still alive.
Doesn't know, does he? Or strong.
Jake!
Inappropriate? Wrong? Yes. Unlikely? No. Uncalled for? I don't know. I think they all had their reasons for fighting like this. And what happened to that kid? It's terrible. It's unfortunate. But it was a risk he was taking with everything that he was doing.
Let me see. The guard has never had to defend princes from princes.
That is no answer.
And that's not true.
Will it not, Maester?
They have had to defend princes for princes. If they think inter-family feuds have not occurred, they're full of shit.
Where were you?
Me?
He was in bed where he was supposed to be. And if you had been doing your job, your other kid would have already been told to go to bed.
Your king demands an answer. Who spoke these lies to you?
Me.
It's like, what
And
did
you,
I do?
boy.
I wasn't even a part of any of this.
Well, you know, Father, everyone knows. Just look at them.
Your son, Viserys.
Allow your temper
They're his
to guide your
grandchildren. Like,
judgment.
Anyone whose tongue dares to question the birth of Princess Rhaenyra's sons should have it removed. Alicent, stay with the peasant!
What have I done but what was expected of me? Forever upholding the kingdom, the family, the law. Where is sacrifice? Is trampled under your pretty foot again. And to even that you feel entitled. Exhausting, wasn't it? Hiding beneath the cloak of your own righteousness.
okay, and I know there are a lot of varying emotions and opinions about that, the whole legitimacy of these kids and all of that thing. And I know somebody pointed out the fact that I am biased. I'm biased. We're all biased. We all have our own biases. Okay? There's no reason to try to lie about that or hold back on that. I see what Alicent did as like unjust outrage. Yes, she is his mother. Yes, that's going to make you very, very furious. Scared, angry, all kinds of things. Protective, yes. But to demand another child's eye because your child's eye got cut out during a fight, legitimate fight, and losing an eye was a cost of being in that fight. Yes, Otto Hightower is a big fucking problem. He is the main reason that Alicent is the way she is. I see things more like Rhaenyra. Even in this day and time, when I was growing up, the expectations of females to me was ridiculous. I saw a lot of what was expected of us as really unfair, inappropriate to who I was as a person. And that's kind of how I see Rhaenyra. Is her having bastard kids a big problem? Yes. In that time, in this world, in any world, it's a problem. But especially there, especially in that time and in that world.
Thank you, Maester. Leave us.
But I also understand where that came from.
You deserve better than what I've been. You deserve a husband.
That whole thing, that was done in a way I think a lot of people didn't realize what was going on. I don't remember exactly what it was that cued me in, but there were things that she said and things that Daemon said when he was paying off Laenor's boyfriend that made me think that they weren't actually going to kill him. So I kind of realized ahead of time that it was a faked death. But I think some people didn't. And I know this seems weird, but I'm like getting this really bad pain right in here, and I want to like rub it out, but it doesn't actually go away, so.
Fire is a prison. The sea offers an escape.
I'm biased when it comes to Alicent and Rhaenyra. When they got into that fight, and Alicent was going on and on about what about duty and sacrifice and all this stuff, while you like trample it with your pretty little feet over and over again. To me, I see what she said to Alicent is right. It's so exhausting to try to constantly keep up this facade and constantly trying to do everything that everyone expects of you all the time. be so focused on honor, on sacrifice, and all of that. And when you give all of yourself away like that, you're not helping yourself and you're not helping those around you. Her fucking father made her this way. She's also a full-grown woman. She wasn't just around her father. She has other freaking people that have been around her to help bring her up and guide her. And she still chooses to do these same things and be the same way. So yeah, Daddy's at fault, not completely innocent.
I will fear what else we might be capable of.
Right there, they're plotting this. They know how awful that will be for Lena's whole family. Even today, in today's time, sometimes it's really hard to get people to take you seriously as a female. And especially in that kind of world. So I get why she's trying to create that kind of image. It sucks that she feels that she needs to do that.
Hello, everyone. This is Venus Brown. Now, I am starting on episode 8. I could have sworn I had already recorded this, but it is not there. So for whatever reason, episode was recorded, but it's gone. So I am recording it all over again. I also, if you saw my previous week's Crown episode, you probably saw that I was having some problems with this webcam footage. It seemed a little bit delayed or slow or something. I did load up a couple videos, went through the settings features, and then went into the webcam settings and changed the frame a little bit, and it seems to work fine now. I got 3 episodes I need to get done because I am running behind. Yes, I've had things going on. There's always things going on.
Will he live?
He led his sailors into an ambush.
The ship met. The ravens came in from
Evenfall, Princess.
So they arrive in 3 days.
I love the way she's always like thinking and processing stuff, figuring out
the sea snake is strong.
Appropriate actions to take.
The driftwood throne.
I love
My
that
grandmother
dress.
seems quite comfortable here.
She presides only in the
Oh,
absence
beautiful.
of her husband.
Dark blue, velvety,
His death.
pretty.
The seat passed.
That gold trim embroidery on that. I mean, on his too, but I just like that velvet with the kind of metallic embroidery and next to it.
And you know it. Driftmark is mine by all rights. The winds have shifted.
Brothers don't come in line of the succession before the spouse and children and grandchildren, all of that stuff. And generally, the person in charge at the time, even if they are out of it, their wishes are supposed to be followed. We know from the previous episode that Vaemon has these particular frustrations with the reality that Rhaenyra's children are being considered as legitimate heirs when he knows they are not legitimately blood related. In his view, in his heart and his soul, this is going to take his bloodline out of the line of succession, which to him is a huge problem. And I don't blame him. I understand him completely when it comes to that. Unfortunately, laws of the land don't necessarily go along with his views, even though they have some legitimacy to them. But we know also that this episode, they come to this reality that the king is out of commission and that the Lord of the Tides is out of commission. And this presents this great opportunity for him to seek out the queen and the hand to the king because he knows they will be on his side in the matter. And of course, later on, we'll see that that doesn't go as planned. But let's get back to the show. That is something that the first time around, I did not realize like the importance of that But now that I've seen it again and I've looked at some of the other reactions and realized that this is like 3 eggs. They seem to bear some similarities to the eggs that we see later on in Game of Thrones when Daenerys is gifted those eggs. Now, what I want to do eventually is take a closer look at the text in the book and the images from here and the images from Game of Thrones to try to put together as much of a kind of like comparison of the 3. A lovely young lady who left in a ship to go and explore the unexplored seas. Is it more likely that the eggs she took are the eggs that Daenerys got? To me, it kind of lines up with the story that Daenerys is in. The reality of where she had explored and where she ended up. That the eventual placement of those eggs would end up where they did. But there's no guarantee. Just something to think about.
Feld. It is a related word. I don't expect you to learn High Valyrian in a day, Jace.
A king should honor the traditions of his forebears.
Well,
yeah, you do
unless
that
you're
by
planning to
learning,
depose
which
your own mother,
sometimes
you have
takes
plenty of time to
time.
study.
When I saw Joffrey there, I thought he looked so young, so when I watched it that last time that I lost the video, next time we saw him, he looked much older, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I thought he looked so much younger.
Luke's legitimacy. She believes we had her son killed so that we might marry.
Yes. And yet she's taken Baelor to ward.
Because she loves Baelor.
To King's Landing, then.
Baby. Poor baby. This is where we get to see that they have taken down a lot of the regalia and everything that made this place look so grand. It looks much darker. It looks much plainer. And then also Alicent has all these religious symbols up, which Daemon does not take well to.
Princess.
Lord Caswell?
Lord Caswell, we're gonna see him later on. We saw him earlier when Rhaenyra had given birth. As she's going up the stairs, this lord stops her and asks something to the effect of, there's anything he can do to help, and she says that there may at some point be help that she needs, and this is going to come into fruition, not this episode, but soon after, so...
Nice to be home, but I scarcely recognize it.
Indeed.
Eric, you need to wait.
I'm Eric, Your Grace.
Eric. Okay, so he's Eric. The other one's Eric. And I will probably have a very hard time keeping up with Eric and Eric because, yeah, I just don't know the difference well enough. My brother-in-law and my husband saw this. They said it looked like he had a jock strap on his face, and they're not far off. They're babies.
Is Aegon.
Aegon.
And this is Viserys.
Now that is a name fit for a king.
And yours is a face scary for a child. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Poor child. And that's what she should have done. That's exactly what she should have done. Not the other crap.
Talia, and not me.
And that right there, that's where I'm like, no, what you're doing is just wrong. I know she's the queen, and I know she has to deal with the freaking chatter that goes on in the land and everything. She already knows that this kid has been doing this. She's obviously practiced. We also hear later on that he's got other kids throughout the kingdom that he's bastardized. You know damn well she is not going to be able to keep something like that in, saying, oh, you already told these 2 people. Yeah, she told those 2 people that she had to tell in order to get the information to the only person that she really needed to inform. Like, give me a fucking break. and then to pay her off. Did she just pay her off, or did she make it look like she paid her off and then had her killed later on? We don't really know that, but just like the whole way that she handled it after she was all nice and kind and loving and understanding. And there's a couple things like this that she does, that she is a woman that is in this precarious situation that she's in, should understand how awful some of this stuff is on women, and she reacts in a way that is kind of vindictive this time. And when Rhaenyra had the whole leaking problem, like, come on, you know these issues are a real issue. You have had to deal with some of this, and you're going to treat somebody with that kind of callous unfeeling. Nothing gives her no autonomy in this matter at all. You don't really have much autonomy at all in a regime like that, but come on.
Rule, as you well know. My father and I are mere stewards of the king's will and wisdom.
And how exactly is that wisdom expressed? In blinks and wheezes?
On milk of the poppy while the High Towers warm his throne.
An act of the purest mercy, but tell me, for the king's suffering, did the maesters also prescribe the removal of Targaryen heraldry and the installation in its stead of various statues and stars?
The emblems of the Seven serve only to guide us on an uncertain path, to remind us of a higher authority.
And on the morrow, which authority will sit in judgment of my son's claim on his own inheritance?
He just looks so much older than he did in that first scene where he was sitting on that little carpet or whatever. But I think it was just like the angle and the lighting or something.
Be prepared if he does not.
You should also be prepared if he does, because the havoc that is gonna wreak.
Will you want a child at the command of the greatest fleet in Westeros?
These kinds of things
Act in the
happen all
interest
the
of our
time in
subjects.
regimes like this. Babies have been put in places of rule. They have a regent that helps them and guides them, and they usually have other people in the court that help and guide them. And they're not usually allowed to make any major decisions. It's a reality. You're acting like this is something you never do. It's just nonsense.
Not order his death. Nor was I complicit in it, I swear this to you.
You see that slight raise in her eyebrow? Like, oh, really?
Will be queen of the Seven Kingdoms, and her sons will be heirs to the throne. Rhaena will rule in Driftmark, and
We'll also keep that bloodline,
the seat will pass.
family seat. Whatever Rhaenys feels, she does seem to stand on the side of, I've got to be neutral until I have more information. When the time comes, she does take the bait and go along with Rhaenyra's plan, but it is mostly because it suits her. People complain when people make self-centered decisions, but all of us make self-centered decisions. I just like to hope that the self-centered decisions that we make also involve helping others as well, and hopefully don't involve being completely conniving and manipulative to other people.
If you wish me to bear it, then defend me.
Where he stays later on when he sees Alicent and thinks he's still talking to her. This stuff bugs me too. Alicent is right that they can't just like let him go on like that in that kind of pain and everything. And Rhaenyra's right later on when she says that Alicent has stood by him all this time. But like, the one thing that she knew was like really a thing of pride for him. They have servants all over that castle, and he has nobody cleaning that model city up. With the problems that they said were actually going on that were contributing to him deteriorating so fast and so early, if they are not keeping him infected and ill and idled so that other people can rule, and so that they can gradually, slowly have somebody else take over. Because really, they could have offed him a long time ago. I mean, an infection like that could kill anybody. Keeping him bedridden like that for so long, it gives them the opportunity to rule without officially being in a ruling position. And it gives them the opportunity to keep him from making any real decisions at all. And that's his step. To be cognizant enough to make it through that dinner, at least some of the way through the dinner.
Of this survival of my house and my line above all, brother successor, the Lord of Driftmark and Lord of the Tides.
To go in this favour.
First men, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector.
This truly was a very, very freaking awesome scene.
I will be fine. I will be fine. I said I'm fine. Come on.
And there were people that said that this was planned, that we were told this was like a impromptu thing that just happened. Matt Smith just came up and started going with it. Some people said, oh no, because how are you really going to have cameras just set up just in the right place to get that imagery? But there's like all kinds of shows and movies and stuff like that where they have cameras set up in various positions, taking a lot of different shots. There's no reason really that they couldn't have gotten that kind of shot that way. Even if they did, if like it happened and then they decided, oh, well, let's go with it and then set the cameras up, you know, that's okay. But it's not like it isn't possible or even likely that there are not already cameras set up in different positions in the room to get multiple types of shots from very different angles.
For a settled succession, the only one present who might offer keener insight into Lord Corlys's wishes is the Princess Rhaenys.
True.
Indeed, Your Grace.
And that's the thing. It was a settled succession. Yeah, there's this whole thing in the air about are these actually blood-related children, but the matter was technically settled.
To marry her sons Jace and Luke to Lord Corlys's granddaughters, Baela and Rhaena. They heartily agree.
Well,
and as I said, that
settled.
puts that bloodline back
Again.
into succession, because
I hereby
as long as they
reaffirm
have children,
Or house as you see fit.
he is the king of the whole kingdom. You don't get to say stuff like that and live. He knew he was damning himself.
See it end.
Sometimes you gotta just say what you have to say, and he did.
Bastards!
A whore.
Your tongue for that.
Something for the pain.
I will not cloud my mind.
Will not cloud my mind.
To look upon the face of death.
She has visited me more times than I can count, Grand Maester. As little whether my eyes are open or closed.
How the act is done, I assume. At least in principle.
He's no longer a handsome one.
That's an understatement. Okay, I just wanted to get a blow up of this because look at that. Like, you can see the freaking tendons and all of that in his face. That is gruesome. But that is some awesome work that the artists did in this.
Be by his side than his good wife. Apology.
My apology.
Fine, Queen.
I gave her a look. What? Too bad it didn't hold.
Regret the disappointment you're soon to suffer.
At least his wife freaking tells him like it is after he pulls this crap.
Hope we may yet be friends and allies. To you and your family's
Well,
good
that's
health,
definitely
dear
not
uncles.
gonna happen.
He just ignores you. Except sometimes when he's drunk.
And it all actually looks all nice and lovey-dovey for just a little while. It almost looks pre-planned. What are the servants gonna know about that whole thing? Well, they might, but...
Expressing how proud I am of my family, Mother.
Though it seems my nephews aren't quite as proud of theirs.
It's funny how every time he gets ready to say something, his family is just like looking at him like, oh no, like they know what's coming, know how he is, and they just get these looks on their face like, oh no, it's coming, every time. Uncle Damon has to give him that knowing look. So this is where I got really confused last time, where she said that. I thought she was saying she was going to see the children off, and then she would return to Driftmark on Dragonback. I did not realize she was saying she was going to go to Driftmark with them, and then come back to King's Landing on Dragonback. And who that is, the Queen's Lady in Waiting. She's been spying, and we'll see later on that she's sending out signals. He definitely doesn't always realize when he's talking to Alicent.
His dream.
Even before. It is you. That doesn't tell her that it's Prince Aegon. And Prince Aegon is the name of multiple princes. But, you know, she's gonna reach the conclusion that suits her. It is funny though, because later on her own kid calls her out on it. Alright, that was the end of episode 8, The Lord of the Tides, and next we get to see episode 9. Yeah, 9 and 10, I think we know it's kind of almost like a 2-part finale, with 9 being the side of what the Greens do, and 10 being the side of what the Blacks do. We'll be all done for the seasons.